Hey, if you're pregnant over 40, I have just the community for you. It's a private community away from Facebook where women just like you come together to meet and support one another during pregnancy. To sign up for the waitlist, go to over40fabulousandpregnant.com/waitlist and be the first to know when the membership is open. I can't wait to see you inside. Welcome to Over 40, Fabulous and Pregnant. I am your host, Jamie Massey, and you're listening to episode 30. If you're looking for pregnancy stories of women over 40, you've come to the right place. Today on the show, we're doing a little something different. I have Victoria on from New Mommy Over 40 podcast, and we're discussing loss. If that's something you are comfortable with, I totally get it. Next week, we are back to sharing pregnancy stories of women over 40. And there's actually one recording of this show that she and I are both posting on each other's podcast. Victoria had a great pregnancy at 40, and she's a mother to a 3-year-old. But she's also dealt with loss before and after her daughter. I know I don't have to tell you that loss just happens to women trying to get pregnant. And if you'd like to hear Victoria's story, you can listen to episode 14. I've had 2 miscarriages and an ectopic pregnancy where I lost my fallopian tube, and a failed round of IVF where I didn't make it to transfer day. And emotionally, I handled them very different. And I want you to know that we have the power to decide how we feel by the thoughts we have. And one of the questions I get asked the most is, Jamie, how do you podcast during and after loss? And these stories that I share on this show, they give me evidence that it's possible to get pregnant, instead of looking at my past for answers that it's not possible. And my thought is, I will be pregnant and become a mother, but just not yet. It's going to come. And when it does, y'all, I'm going to shout it from the top of the mountains. That I can't wait for. And I think it's important as women, we discuss about our losses and know you are not alone if you've gone through this. And with that, let's get into today's show.
Hi, I'm Victoria Lauture Ducker, and I'm the host of New Mommy at 40 podcast.
And I'm Jamie Massey, host of Over 40 Fabulous and Pregnant podcast.
And we have teamed together so that we can have this really important discussion of loss. And We've both been through our fair share.
And I am fresh out of it. I just had a miscarriage a week ago yesterday. So it's really fresh on my mind.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah. And I've been mourning it for almost 2 weeks because I knew it was going to happen. And they had said that it had stopped growing. And I just wanted to let nature take its course. And so even though it just happened over a week ago, I've been mourning it for a while.
Yeah. I identify with that because my most recent miscarriage was in December, 2 days before Christmas. And, it's always that moment when the radiology technician comes in. In my case, it was. Sometimes your actual OB will do it for you. But in this one, it was a technician who came in, and just her whole vibe just told me ahead of the time. And I think what was rough was that I invited my husband and my daughter to that ultrasound. And we didn't tell her. I specifically did not mention what was happening, just the doctor's appointment. But to be there and hear no heartbeat, and she was so vague, and I just wanted a clear-cut answer. Like, just give it to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Tell me.
At this point, just rip the Band-Aid. And I understand that that's a delicate subject, and maybe not everyone's comfortable doing that. But I feel like if your patient is asking, at least like run and get the doctor and do it together. You know what I mean? If you don't want to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
But I hear you on that. I'm still grieving. Grieving in a sense, I think for me as someone who is a mom, and I don't take that lightly. Like, I understand the blessing that is. So if anyone's listening and it's kind of triggered who are not yet moms and have had miscarriages, it's not lost on me that I'm already a mom. However,
yeah, but I don't think you should belittle your experience and your grieving just because you already have a child.
Yeah,
too.
no, I don't believe it either. I'm just, what I was about to say was just the fact that I think what made it harder, because I've had the miscarriages prior to my daughter. I've had one, and I've had all the other ones. I've had 4 now after her. And I think this one was even more difficult in the sense that she was old enough to kind of notice the change in me. And, when I was coming back from the hospital and picking me up. And then, ironically, maybe a few days after I found out that we were pregnant, on her own, she started like walking around in a circle in the living room going, "Mommy, baby, mommy, baby, mommy, baby, mommy, baby." And I didn't tell her anything.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting? Like, I was like, she knows. She knows. So I just felt like the initial grief was, I couldn't do that for her, maybe. Kind of like, I'm wondering whether I ever will be. And I know now, and we'll talk about our processes, but now I'm like, she's going to be okay. But I took that on a little bit in those few moments right after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you and your husband got married or whenever you decided, okay, we're going to have a family, what did you think family planning was going to look like for you guys?
Well, my mom, she had 6 miscarriages before me. And she reminds me every time, and I want to be called a miracle. She doesn't call me a miracle. It's really unfortunate.
She doesn't?
No. I'm like, Mom, please call me what I'm supposed to be called. And so I kind of knew. I was like, I kind of expected it to not be easy.
Yeah.
And so when we started, my husband wanted to wait to start until we got married.
Traditional.
And I was like, no. Yeah, he's very traditional. And I was like, no, we need to get a head start on this. You don't know how long it's going to take us. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind, that it could probably take longer than I wanted it to. Now, over 2 years in, I didn't expect 2 years, but yeah. What about you?
I had an idea that it may not be simple only because I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome in 2010. So I was still in my 30s and early 30s. So while that was alarming, I was just happy to know because I was having all these different symptoms and it fell under all, this umbrella. So when I heard about the possibility of infertility, I took it as a possibility, not necessarily going to be my story. But I knew that I had also wanted to start earlier than later in trying, just in case I did. And just that relationship was never in a healthy place to even start trying. And even when I did bring it up, it's not something that brought us closer. If anything, it was what ended it. We didn't really want a responsibility of really having a family. So I went on my own and he went on his own, but I was 36 or 37 when we broke up. And I ran to a fertility clinic. Get this. I ran to the fertility clinic going, my eggs, I gave him all my best eggs. Like, and then I ran to this fertility clinic and I just wanted to know, what's my egg reserve looking like? You know, I had heard of this through other friends, but not in extreme detail, but I knew that this was a good step. So I went in, they did the test. She's like, okay, obviously it's diminishing because of your age. And she went through all of, you know, how we're born with all we're ever going to have, which I did not know at 36, 37, public announcement here. And then I heard that and I said, okay, good. I took this deep breath. Then she told me how much. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And like, I was in so much debt out of that relationship. I couldn't even see straight when she told me the number. And so I left with this false confidence in the number of my eggs. And I walked out. I didn't know I'd find love, like this kind of love, 5-6 years later to even really try now.
Yeah, we got married when I was 40.
Yeah.
And so it's like, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. And for me, like my husband has 2 older kids. So we're done, right? And then he's like, don't you want to be a mom? Do you want to be a mom? I said, well, yeah, I thought about it. But, you know, at this point, do you want to start over? He's like, well, that's a shame because you'd be a really great mom. I'd try with you. And that's how we ended up trying. Yeah.
How sweet.
Yeah. But we do take for granted, you know, that it's just going to be quote unquote simple. And there's really not much simple about fertility.
Yeah, it's not. You know, when I was younger, I actually wanted a family. Like I didn't want just kids and I wanted a husband and I wanted all of it.
Yeah.
And I told myself that I was never going to find him because I dated, you know, so many guys and none of them were right. And, you know, I even went on a date with my husband, like it's probably been almost 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so we didn't get married until like over 2 years ago. So I just really thought, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be a mom because I haven't been able to find my husband yet. And that, you know, I was ready to give up also.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Yeah, because my parents met in their 20s. They had me at 24 and 27. I remember hitting 24 and thinking, this is the age that my mom had me. But I was still in college or coming out of college. And I remember going, that's not happening this year or maybe next year. I remember not feeling like a failure, but just thinking, how did that happen for them? And they're still together. Like, I don't see that in sight for me. So when is this going to happen?
Yeah, I know the feeling.
The moment that you and your husband discovered that it was going to be difficult, what was that like?
I had an ectopic pregnancy and I had internal bleeding. And, you know, once we figured out that I had internal bleeding and she's like, my doctor is pointing at the screen because, you know, the doctor usually never comes in the sonogram room. And she went in there because we knew it was an ectopic. And so she came in the room and she's like, look at all this stuff glowing on the screen. She's like, this is internal bleeding. You are going to go right across the street and have surgery. So now I'm in my 40s, early 40s, and I don't have a fallopian tube on the left side. And I've already had a miscarriage. And so that was probably the moment that, you know, I thought it was going to be tough.
Did you notice anything in him? Like, because I feel like we talk a lot about us as the moms to be, you know, the ones who are trying. But I often think, like, are there signs that we're missing of our husbands expressing what that moment is like for them too? You know what I mean?
My husband is pretty quiet about his feelings.
Me too.
So sometimes I have a hard time, like, recognizing what's going on. And plus, I have so many emotions going on. Sometimes I have a hard time almost considering his because I am just in my own. But I know he carries a lot of my own feelings because I express them externally. So I know he carries that a lot. And it has been hard for him, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, for my husband, he seems really concerned about my health. He's just really hesitant to even try again.
Yeah.
And I'm sure what plays into his decision too is he's got 3 healthy kids. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm the one who's saying, but I want another one, but I know that the risk is higher every time, as we age too, really just the miracle of a pregnancy anyway is just astounding, right? I guess that brings me to something that you had mentioned about just like how we honor our bodies in this process, and that the more that we talk about it, it is a really, it's a natural thing that a lot of us go through, right? Wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Natural process for our body. And the first thing I wanted to do was blame my body. And I was really angry. Yeah. And so it's funny because I'm grieving, and it's almost like my body held on, almost like, hey, listen, almost like, I know it sounds silly, but it's almost like it was hanging on to this pregnancy too, like my brain was.
Yeah. 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 I really did not want to acknowledge this last pregnancy. And I hate how that sounds, but it's the truth. When the pregnancy test came back, I remember thinking, I'm pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is great. I woke my husband up and I was like, look. But then saying it out loud, because I was looking at the test silently, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I ran to him and I told him, once I said it out loud, there was this wave of fear that like hit me afterwards. It's kind of like PTSD, maybe a little of, I've announced it. It's real now. What if I lose it? And I was talking to a friend of mine and she said, but what if you don't? What, you don't know, you don't know. So I really encourage you. Are you journaling? I'm like, yes. And she's like, I think you should write a letter to it. And that was really hard because I had done that before. You know what I mean? I had done that to the set of twins that I lost separately. And I didn't even want to revisit that letter since since that miscarriage. So to write another one was just like, again, is this journal becoming a collection of losses at this point? Like, I don't really know if I want to do that. And I dug deep and I wrote the letter, and it was a process. Like, you can see it in my writing of, I don't really want to do this. I'm afraid to, but you know what? It's the time, whatever time I have with you. And and by the end of the letter, I was bawling, and all this got released. And I thought, okay, I can't be all scientific about this in my brain. Like, I tried to protect myself here, but I think I'm just going to honor that I'm the vessel right now, and I'm going to enjoy this time. And it was an unfortunate short 4 days of doing that, because that's what literally, from that moment of writing that letter and saying, I'm okay with this, was the appointment where there was no heartbeat, like 4 days. But I still, wow. For me, I don't think I would tell someone that they have to do that. But if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I'd rather do that than walking around here with just all this fear, and maybe that will be something that will be beneficial to me and for me, Maybe I will journal, but it's been hard for me. I haven't even read that letter yet. I still can't really bring myself to read them.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I saw you posted that on as an audiogram. I thought it was really inspiring to me.
Oh, thank you. That was so hard. It was so hard.
Yeah.
It makes it so real. And I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of women who have gone through this, and I think that's the toughest part, is not stealing your joy. You know, not letting your joy be stolen in the process of finding out that you're pregnant, but then also that protection of just in case this doesn't work out again. I just need to protect myself from that pain. But I find either way, you really don't still, you still really can't protect yourself. It still hurts.
Yeah.
So is it better to just go in with joy, or, did you?
Yeah. Because I kind of went into it going, I want to celebrate this no matter how far along I get. Because whether I try and protect myself or celebrate it, I'm going to be upset at the end. So I might as well celebrate it now.
Good for
while
you.
I'm pregnant. Yeah.
How was that then? And with that point of view, which I really am impressed, because I think that's really hard. For me, it sounds hard, but for you, how did that play into your grief, going in with that type of positivity? Did that sustain you in a way at all?
A little bit. I kind of compare it to my first miscarriage. So I kind of look at it that I've had 4 losses. I've had a miscarriage, and then the ectopic, and then a failed IVF, and then this last one. And my first miscarriage, I indulged in all the grieving, all the sadness. I was having a gigantic bowl, not ice cream, but sadness. And I just sat on the sofa for an entire week and just was sad. And I also was a little ignorance was bliss kind of a situation, because I didn't really understand what was going on. And I had even called the doctor, I'm miscarrying. I expected them to do something to stop it. Oh. And I wish the doctor actually explained to me, look, there's nothing we can do. And I wanted to hear those words. And the first time you're going through it, you don't understand.
No.
So this second time, I guess it's not a second time, but kind of is a second time in a way that I wanted to be emotionally in a totally different place than I was at that point. And I knew what was going to happen. And, mentally, I wanted to be in a better place and to be more positive and to have better thoughts going in. This is all happening. It's happening just as it's supposed to be.
Yeah. That's the part that I always had problems with for myself, is everything in my life for many years was everything is happening the way it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But then I got so angry between these last 2, because then on top of the miscarriages, there are 2 failed IVF rounds. So you have 4 miscarriages, 2 IVF rounds that didn't go through. And I was just thinking, no one else has this issue in my family. See, because with you, with what you were expressing about your mom, it didn't have to be your reality, but you had a feeling, there was a possibility because of what she went through. My mom had 4 kids. My sister has 3 kids. No one has these issues. No one else has PCOS. No one has fibroids. I was just like, what is going on? So, I'm looking, is it environment? Is it stress? Like, I'm the one that usually can, runs and does what needs to be done. Is it because I'm putting too much on myself? And I started really kind of looking inward until like truly just really like having these conversations through this podcast. And I'm sure we both, can share what having this community, our communities mean to us along our process. Yeah. But in speaking to more people, I'm finding, okay, this is happening to many of us, to many people. And there's so many factors here that it may not have anything to do with the things I'm trying to place blame on. You know what I mean? On myself. Yeah. I will swear that I don't think stress is good for anything. Stress is not good for you in many facets of your aspects of your health. But I got so angry that I didn't want to hear this is how it was supposed to be. Because it didn't feel like it was supposed to be that for me. I felt like looking around, like everyone has all of these kids. But then I'm also the only one that started this late. So it's kind of like if you're doing like a test study, that's a very big, like a big portion to consider that you're like, I'm leaving out in my narrative of like, why me? It also can be that, my mom started when she was 24. My sister started when she was in her early 30s, maybe even like the last few years of her 20s. So
for me, I try to be careful what questions I ask myself, because when I started to ask myself, why is this happening? My brain came up with terrible answers. My brain said, you don't deserve to be pregnant, otherwise you would be pregnant.
It's hard to hear because it's like, it's hard to hear because it feels so painful, you know?
Yeah. And so my brain said, I don't deserve to be a mom because I would be pregnant otherwise. And so knowing that, I've had that thought for a long time. So kind of knowing that and understanding my thoughts. I mean, why did I ask myself that? It's a circumstance that I'm in and I'm just there. I don't want to ask myself why. I usually try and look forward into the future. And so I've really kind of focused on that because otherwise my brain has some really terrible answers.
Yeah. It's funny because I was just thinking while you were speaking and I was like, that sounds familiar because I feel like I had a little bit of that too. But I think that's why with the IVF rounds, I was able to like really escape from asking myself questions because it was out of, it was out of my control.
Yeah.
Like, or I
get that.
You know what I mean? It's never really in your control, right? All you're controlling is, hey, babe, it's ovulation time. Let's go. That's after that, like it's totally out of your hands. But for something, for some reason with IVF, I was able to really separate it. Like it felt it's so scientific. Like, you've got the egg, you've got the sperm, let me know how it goes. And so, right? Let me know how
drugs,
it goes.
and it's so overwhelming.
It's 5 days, call me in 5 days, let me know. So, and it's not that simplified, but you know what I mean? Like, it was so outside of me. Like, there's nothing, I've done everything I can do. Now it's just, so when I got the results, we were both very disappointed, but it was so much easier to deal with than the miscarriages. I acknowledge that they're very, it's very different,
Yeah.
It's very different because especially hope, because after 2 failed IVF rounds and then get pregnant naturally, I remember going, I don't have to call the fertility clinic. We were going to do another round. We did it on our own. And then to have to call and go, well, you haven't heard from me in 4 months because I got pregnant, but I'm not. Okay, so let's get back on this horse,
Yep.
Yeah. Was rough.
for me, it's also financially. That was almost a balance for me because it's such a financial investment that, you know, I'm not grieving as much because I am so separated, but damn, we lost a lot of money. That really hit me also.
Yeah. And I feel that is where, you know, going back to husbands, that is the part where I know he wouldn't say that, but it's like there was a lot that went into supporting you emotionally, you know, emotionally. Yep. And then I'm a stay at home, so I'm working, but it's a different type of work. I'm not getting paid in that sense. And so my husband is the breadwinner. So when when you're talking about the money aspect too, it's just like, oh man, like there's really no return from what was invested, you know, besides more pain. And
right.
You know, and if we feel powerless and like, just call me in 5 days, let me know if I have a blaster system or not. Imagine they're not even the ones going through the shots and the treatment. They're really, it's like everything is happening totally outside of them. Like they just show up, give what they need to in a cup, and then they're done. And it's just, it must be really bizarre. I would love to get a man's perspective on what that's like to support their partner through an IVF or, you know, through assisted reproductive technology, because it's weird. It's weird.
The focus is on us.
It's all on us. And it's on us again if it doesn't go through. You know, it's just like how to best support. And I wanted to ask, like, what was your support system like? Do you have a support system in place when after these things have happened outside of your husband as well?
Yeah, my mom and sisters have really been there for me and helping me through a lot. And just these women, every time I do an interview, it's like, I'm like, you don't know how much this means to me also, and how connected I am to their stories.
And that's what I love about your podcast. What's great about your podcast is its focus on the stories of people who've actually gotten pregnant after 40. It's so inspiring, you know, so that if you are in a space and you don't require anyone to have to talk about the, you know, just the failures, they're talking about the successes. So when people are tuning in who are probably in the process or just lost, it's like, okay, there's hope. Look, she can do it. She did it. She did it. Maybe there's hope for me. So it's really awesome that in spite of what you're going through and what you've gone through, that you're providing space for people to tell these stories. But is there ever a time when you're like, I can't do this interview right now? Like, cause I like, you know, like no. I know no. Like it's never like, did you go ahead and interview even still right after the miscarriage?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, I don't remember. I want to say I was like bleeding during a few of them, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not pregnant anymore. And that goes back to my thoughts about it. That because my mind says I don't deserve to be a mom because otherwise you'd be pregnant, I find it a lot easier to celebrate other women. In a way, I almost feel a little bit like a fraud, right? You're a mom, but I have a podcast called Over 40 Fabulous and Pregnant, and I'm not even a mom. So there's a little bit like I am an outsider also, and I do not find it hard at all to just keep celebrating women at all.
But I want to correct something there, sister. Wait, hold on one second, sister. I don't want you to think that, I mean, you do know that you deserve to be a mom, right?
I do. I know it's an absolute ridiculous thought. Every woman deserves to be a mom if they want to. Yes, I also believe that.
Okay, good. Because I think that's why people also feel comfortable. They may not know right offhand that you're not a mom, but when you do share, because I know that you probably say, well, no, I'm not a mom yet. I don't think they feel like there's some imposter that's doing it. It's just you're looking for hope. You are the woman that you are appealing to in your community. You know what I'm saying? To be inspired by someone's story. And we're all rooting for you. We're all rooting for you. And that it happens one day. Because the day that Jamie announces, okay, guys, it's happened. It's like, yay! Because you've provided a space for people to talk about their stories. For me, like on my podcast, the reason why I talk about, you know, not just the successes, because the first season was pretty much just kind of similar in just telling us about, you know, your pregnancy and how you got there. But after doing it for a little bit, it was interesting some of the DMs that I was getting or the followers that I was getting that, you know, the followers that I started to attract were experiencing so many infertility issues that it kind of flipped my, not really my goal, but just it was incorporated because people were going through IVFs or had gone through so many, just like, you know, the women you've interviewed, so many had a bumpy road to motherhood. And then some didn't have an issue at all. And so it just came, it just seemed like, oh, we're evolving here. But I don't think you should have any imposter syndrome. If anything, maybe you start by telling people your story and them hearing your story, they'll even appreciate the space that much more that you're creating because you just want to celebrate. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a sister too. I just have to give a shout out to my sister who's been an amazing support system. Because when you said that, I realized that I didn't say mine. And, you know, between my husband and some girlfriends that I have, but my sister really has just been pretty amazing. So shout out to you, Lynn.
Yeah. Yeah, I did want to say, speaking of support, I have a girlfriend in New York. And when my dad passed away, and just on the note of grieving, she called me, and, you know, me and my dad were very close, and she called and she said, "What kind of support do you need?" And she said, "Do you want me to cry with you? Do you want to be inspired? You know, what do you need?" And I was like, that is so perfect. And I just thrive and feel so inspired just being surrounded by strong women and stories. And it's really been uplifting for me.
That's a beautiful friend. What a beautiful thing to ask. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
We like
I know. I was like, I told her later. I was like, it was perfect.
Has anyone ever said anything to you after knowing about the miscarriages that was just really just unnecessary and not wanted?
Well, I've had two things. Like, one, people just get really awkward and just like freeze. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. We can talk about it. And I had another friend. Once she knew, she sent me flowers and journals and books and angels. And I was like, I don't want any of this.
Yeah.
You know, it's a loss of my future and my future children, but I also don't want anything to remind me of this time. Like, if I forgot it, it would kind of be okay, I think.
Yeah, and it's because the question wasn't asked, right? And actually, even one of those things might be okay, but all of that was just like, whoa. It's just too much. It's just too much. Yeah. She went a little, she went a little overboard. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, what about you?
Well, what funny question is, or funny thing is, what actually launched this podcast was after the miscarriage of the twins. My mom passed away 15 days later. And
I remember that.
Yeah. And I was at the funeral, and then the woman, a friend of hers, said something about, well, at least your mom got to meet this one before she passed away, because for years we wondered what was wrong with you. And I was just like, that went left. Is that really what you wanted to say? Like,
surely there was good intention somewhere in there.
Is that what you meant to say? And that's when I thought maybe there would be, it would be great to have a space where we can talk about these awkward moments and things that people just assume about people who start, their parenting journey later on in life. But I think the worst one recently was just focus on the one that you have and be happy with that. Like, I went on a support group. I think it was an older mom's group or something. And I was expressing, the feeling of possibly being one and done, because recently we had a kind of like a change of heart as a couple of whether to continue. And mostly my husband is really not on board with that. So I kind of was looking for support, and this woman in this group of all people, she's like, you just focus on the one you have. And I was like, why are you in this group? Like, what? You're here obviously because you need community too. Like, I'm good for you that you've gotten to a place where you're okay with it. But I just got here. Like, give me a break. I said, hi, I'd like to introduce myself. You know what I mean? Like, this is clearly I'm new here. So yeah, that didn't feel really good. But I get, because I've been doing this podcast and have this community now, I can hear what she's saying without the punchiness of it. And it's really just enjoy the moments that you have right now, which I think is definitely positive, and I agree with that. You just don't know, like, it's just a hard thing to tell someone who's grieving. It's like literally if you flipped it, and I don't know why people don't do the same thing, like don't compare the two. You wouldn't say that if someone's parent died. Like if my mom passed away, you wouldn't go, well, at least you had a mom. Like, well, at least you have your dad, so get over it. You wouldn't say you wouldn't say that. You'd have more compassion. So I think it might be it might stem from this discomfort from how to deal with that and talking to someone about it. And that's what I hope people get from this episode, is to what, at least if you don't know what to say, maybe not what to say.
Yeah. And I just have people treating me so different or being really giving me too much space. And I just find that almost worse. It's like, don't treat me any different, but you can still ask about what's going on. Or it's not like I'm going to cry on your shoulder. Like,
and if I did,
just treat me.
And what if I did? Like,
that's
like
true.
What's the problem in doing that? Like, but to be ostracized, that's rough. Did you address that with them?
No. I mean, a lot of this is like coworkers and stuff because, we have some people who were just really interested because I left work in the middle of the day and I didn't come to work, one morning. And so people are like, what's going on? Where's Jamie? And so I had a coworker ask me, it was kind of more gossipy, like, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, I had a miscarriage. And he was just beside himself. He was like stepping away slowly. And I'm like, it's okay.
But I wish that was more, I mean, there's a lot of power in that because you told your truth, right?
Yeah.
You told your truth.
It totally was. Yeah.
And why should it be on you? And that's the thing about having a miscarriage and loss. It's like, it feels like it's always on the person, the woman going through the loss, to take care still of the people around her to not offend them or to put the responsibility of them to be emotionally connected or tied to the situation. Like, why can't I just tell you that this is what it was? And then just support, ask me how to support me through it. That's all it should be. But even the workplace, when talking about the workplace and miscarriages, they don't even treat it. You can't even get the days off. properly, right? That's like PTO. Like they don't see it as an actual grievance, right? Or bereavement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can't get bereavement period for if you've had a loss, if you've had a miscarriage or any other loss.
No. But the good thing about that is the owners of my company have also been through fertility treatment. And so they have really been supporting me really well.
That's rare.
And yes, it feels really good. He's messaged me. He said, if you need any time off, you just go. You don't even have to really tell me. And that's been really nice. But another thing that I kind of found between my first miscarriage and this one is that it felt really good just to work and not, I was avoiding my feelings, but at the same time, it also felt good to not be on the sofa indulging in all of the sadness.
Yeah. I couldn't even wrap my head around the miscarriage around the time my mom passed away. It almost felt like I was trying to figure out, like, what do I tackle first? You know what I mean? What deserves the grieving the most? Because, and I think I made the decision at that time to just focus on my mom because my father was relying on me to get him through that. She was literally just disappearing before our eyes. She was diagnosed in January. She told us in February, and she was gone in May. It was literally that fast. Gosh. Of lung cancer, stage 4 lung cancer. So I didn't have time. I know that sounds crazy. I just did not have the time to really wrap my head around what had just happened to me. And for me, there was about a week and a half between each loss. So baby A passed first, and that one I had an idea that it could happen because it was not developing as on schedule as baby B. But months later, it would hit me in intervals. Yeah. And God forbid both my mom and them happened around the same time. I literally felt like kind of like an earthquake. The tears would start and it would feel like it was coming from a place I didn't even recognize the tears existed. And I was literally going to lose my control of my body. It wasn't me anymore. It felt so buried in a really, really deep place. Yeah. It was hard.
It was like you were in survival mode and
completely. You
didn't have time to process it.
No. And I think it influenced my IVF rounds. I was just like, I've got to, I was going to reach, for some reason I thought that baby B will come back. I just got to get that healthy baby B. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just felt like I could have had this baby. That still hits me a little bit right now, I have to say. Yeah. When my mom passed, someone gave me this really great poem. But in short, it's basically like grief changes weight and shape, but you always carry it with you.
Oh, interesting. I like that.
Yeah. What's next for you?
I was going to say earlier how you said that you called off your IVF. We called off our donor eggs.
You did?
And I was like, yeah. And I said, this is a miracle, y'all. This is going to be an amazing story. We were days away from paying for our donor. And I was so happy. I'm like, canceling, no need, we're pregnant. Oh, it was an amazing email. And so I just thought, it's different. It's totally different. So that's kind of one thing that does give me hope and a lot of positivity is, okay, I'm back. Please, is the donor available anymore? And she wasn't. And it was totally meant to, not be with that donor. I wasn't really super excited about her. But I was like, I really wasn't.
Oh.
And she was fine. But then I was like, we need more donor options. Please. We don't like these. We're on Tinder scrolling away.
Yeah, you don't want to end up with a, it's okay. Egg donor, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to be excited about, feel really good about having an egg, the egg donor that you choose. So I'm glad.
And I feel so excited. I'm so excited about this one. We have her reserved. So she has her egg retrieval at the end of April. And
my gosh.
Yeah, her retrieval's at the end of April, and then it'll take a few weeks to get her eggs. They'll have to be frozen and then delivered. And then she's like, it's a possibility of like a May transfer.
Jamie, this is amazing.
It is. I'm just so excited about it. I'm like, let's go. And, something you mentioned earlier, it's like giving up. And we kind of decided it's like, financially, it seems like a waste. And that's kind of hard to say. But for us, I can't see spending a lot more money than we already have and will already plan to. And so we kind of decided these are the eggs we're going to get. And this is the end with, IVF.
Yeah.
I know. I am so excited. And that kind of brings me to, when my doctor, I was put on the highest dose for IVF. And, when we did the egg retrieval, I got one mature egg. Wow. And I'm like, I'm not doing this again for one egg on the highest dosage. I'm sure I could do a little better, but okay, say we got 3 or 4 eggs. I don't want to do all that again for that little amount.
Yeah.
And so when she told me, she goes, I recommend doing donor eggs, I cried. And that's simply because I had to mourn the loss of children with my own genetics. But then I also want to adopt. So I'm like, Jamie, what's wrong with you? You also want to adopt. This should be kind of perfect.
Right.
So I'm like, wait a second. It is perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked.
I'm glad that you bring that up because that's what I was thinking of when you said it and when my friend Camille said it. I was like, well, you could adopt for those who consider adoption and you have this option of, having one you're on your own and that is something that you really want to do. And it was just because of infertility or an issue that made you unable to carry your own. Like this might be actually the best way, best of both worlds of actually being able to carry. But I would love to consider adoption in the future. I definitely think that there's so many amazing children in need of a home that I would love to give that love to. And I think that's something that we might be open to a little later down the line to let our little one grow up a little bit more and just kind of selfishly, if you can, right? Just take all the time that you can and smother her and until we're like, okay, we need another run. So maybe then, but I think what I would love to capture is that grief doesn't come in one size fits all. Right? When you say?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we all do it. We all do it differently. And there's nothing wrong with that. And no one is here to judge someone for grieving unlike me or unlike you.
Yeah. And if you are at a place where you're like, okay, this happens. It's natural. It didn't happen because it wouldn't have been a viable pregnancy anyway. At least I know, and I'm fine about it. Fantastic. If that's how you feel, and we don't want, anyone to be pressured by society that they have to feel a certain way, like they have to be grieving it. You may have been quickly in acceptance of it, which is fantastic. And then if not, just know, take your time. I mean, are any self-care things that you can share that really helped for you to just take care of yourself afterwards? Because even physically, that there is something there to, kind of heal from. Did you do anything in terms of, self-care to take care of yourself?
I wish I did. I need to do more because I have thrown myself into this podcast and I don't do enough self-care. I have animals, and so I have too many chickens and dogs and rabbits. And I find so much peace in taking care of them. And a garden is really peaceful for me. So those little moments for me, I do a lot of walking with my dogs on the weekend. That's the little bit of self-care that I probably do. I love taking baths.
Me too.
Yes. I'm like Sunday evenings. Those are like my Sunday evening routine is to relax and just enjoy it. Yeah.
As soon as I cleared the doctor's orders of baths and soaking and all that stuff after the miscarriage, I took a bath. Like, I remember looking at the calendar. I'm like, it's been 2 weeks. It should be safe. And I poured myself, a nice bath with lavender and rosemary and just sat there. I closed the door and it felt good. I need to do it more often. But, I think just anyone listening to this, we just really suggest that you see if you can establish a routine for yourself or something for yourself afterwards when it's safe to do it, just to take a moment to just check in with yourself. And is there anything else that you're wanting to share in terms of your journey to motherhood?
What's helped me the most is understanding my thoughts. And I really urge women to find their thoughts that serve them and take back the power. And that's really what has helped me through it. Is I don't want to be a victim in this. I want to be stronger coming out of it. And that's what I think my message is, really.
I think that's perfect. Where can anyone find you?
You can find me on over40fabulousandpregnant.com. And that is the same as my Instagram handle. And this is going to be an interruption to all of our stories, but hopefully it will be a much needed one.
And you can find me at newmommyat40.com and newmommyat40 on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And that wraps up this special episode on pregnancy loss. This was a hard episode to listen to. We recorded this show over a month ago, and it's interesting to hear my thoughts during that time because it was so fresh. I'm sure some of y'all can relate, but I know I have some more work to do on my thoughts. On next week's show, we are sharing Bethany's pregnancy journey at 40. She had been trying to get pregnant for 10 years, and I can't wait to share it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next Monday.